Today we are talking about the deadlift and how to pull the slack out of the bar so that you can wedge yourself and get tight to the bar, reduce that range of motion, and have a nice controlled deadlift off of the floor. If you just grab the bar and go, all that slack is going to get pulled out during the lift, and that's going to create a more jerky deadlift. Sometimes you'll see the bar roll away from people. What pulling the slack allows you to do is it's going to allow you to kind of connect with the bar. It's going to allow you to wedge to the bar a little bit more, get really tight, and it's going to create more force from the floor. So that doesn't mean that you can't grip it and rip it. You just need to make sure you hear that, what I like to call it's that click before you lift. So So by that click, what I mean is when you see people setting up and they get into position, they'll kind of pull and yank it a few times. You hear that click. That click means that the bar is now pulled all the way up, and I've reduced that range of motion, as insignificant as it might be, just by a little bit. That enables me to get my lats tight and really wedge myself against the bar. So I'm going to show you step by step how to set up for this. If you need to know how to set your feet, where your hands go, etc., we have the Deadlift Pillar series on our YouTube. We have that for both conventional and sumo pulling, and all of this kind of just applies for both lifts. Might change your setup a little bit if you're pulling sumo. I'm going to show you what that cube looks like when we're pulling conventional. So as you approach the bar, you want the bar to be kind of mid-shin, kind of over the midpoint of your shoelaces. We want to create very long arms. We want to create a ton of tension. That means you want to keep your lats tight. You want to protect the armpits. I know we've all heard that cue a ton. What does that mean? What it doesn't mean is protecting your armpits by going into like extension or putting your chest out. Because remember, when we're pulling off the floor, we want to reduce that range of motion as much as possible. We want to have very long arms. So the way that we're going to achieve that is by pushing our arms down and protecting our armpits this way. So if you were a kid, I used to do this a lot as a kid, where you would like make your arms very long and make fists, and then somebody would come and then pick you up, but you needed to stay very tight in order for that person to pick you up. It's kind of the same concept. We want those arms to be very long. So we have the bar mid-foot. We're going to create those long arms. We're going to take in our air. We're going to hinge to the bar. That means we're going to go back with our butt this way. We're not going to squat down to the bar, because we want to remember this is a hinge movement pattern first. We want to set our hip position, lock in our arms, and where you grab on the bar is really just dependent on your stance. But also what I like to do is once I've created those long arms, I like to get my hands right outside of my legs. I'm not grabbing out here because now that's creating shorter arms. Remember, we want long arms. So I pull my arms in right next to my legs. Hinge, long arms, and here's the money shot. Here's where we want to click. We want to hear that click. Click, wedge, in tight, pull. And as you're pulling from the floor, you don't want to yank the bar up. You want to push from the floor with your feet. So if you've created that proper tension, you won't be able to yank the bar up. A lot of times if you do not pull the slack out, you'll see sometimes people doing this for a long time, which I'm guilty of doing that as well. But you want to make sure if you are clicking it several times that you don't pull after you've relaxed. You pull after that last click here at the top. So putting it all together again so you can see it in one fluid motion. Okay, so common mistakes when people are pulling the slack out of the bar is to actually just go in real aggressive with it. I'm guilty of this as well, but you just need to make sure on that last pull that you're hearing that click and you're not letting it drop back down. So what I mean by going too aggressive with it is getting down here, doing this a bunch of times, but then on that last part, you let the bar drop instead of hearing that click. So don't want to do that. Also, common mistake in the deadlift is squatting to the bar. Again, we've discussed this so many times instead of hinging, pulling, wedging. So make sure you're doing those things correctly. It's going to make your pull feel a lot better and a lot more smooth. Exercises that you can do to reinforce this: pause deadlifts, halting deadlift, anything that's going to reinforce that starting position so that you get into the habit of hearing that click before you lift. Also, just pulling the bar and creating tension off the floor and just kind of holding it there for a minute and really just getting into that habit of feeling what that tight tension feels like when you're down there at the bottom. So just to recap the cues: click before you lift. Your arms are ropes, your lats are like the hook on that rope. You want to make sure that you are hinging, not squatting. Make sure that you're wedging yourself to that bar, creating that really good tightness, almost like a bow and arrow, like you really want to create that tension before you let it go. Making sure that you are pushing from the floor and not yanking from the floor. I hope that you guys find these cues helpful and that you put them into practice. Let me know in the comments if you use this cue or if you have another cue that's helpful for you. Drop it below.